To everyone, a good day. How do I write about Inang, the woman who gave birth, raised, and guided me, and was always there in good times and in bad? Let me begin like this. Inang was born Consuelo Acob Garcia on January 25, 1925, an only child of Lucia Acob Garcia, who claimed their family came from Bacara, and Benigno Lagasca Garcia of Camiling Tarlac, who at the time of her birth was working in a cannery in Anchorage, Alaska, and went back home to Solano just before World War II. I remember Inang telling me stories about Lolo Ben, sending samples of canned salmon and other goods from America. Lolo Ben worked more than 10 years in Alaska and sent most of his earnings to the Philippines. The reason why Lola Lucia was able to have a big house built in Solano. Although Inang was an only child, she had many first cousins she grew up with. There was Uncle Arsing, Uncle Joe, who tended the sheep we had before, Auntie Isabel, Auntie Nati, Auntie Sitang, Auntie Perlit, and Auntie Luz. Auntie Lydia, Bobby, and I were the kids at the time. I remember all of us seated around a long table every dinner time. Ama, Inang, Lola Lucia, and Lola Ben, Lola Maring, and Lola Idring, plus all the children. Those were happy days spent growing up together. Our main cooks then were Lola Lucia and Lola Maring until Inang took over, who was coached in Kapampangan dishes by her mother-in-law, Lola Paula Alvarez. Of the original cousins and children, only 3 are alive today. Auntie Perlit, who lives in Canada, Bobby, and I. Inang also tried her hand at being a beautician, but after graduating from Samsung Academy, she abandoned that dream. She instead pursued and finished her BSc in FEU, while Ama also finished his engineering degree in Mapua. I was with them in Manila until I was old enough to go to school, so I stayed with Lola Lucia in Solano. Her first job was in Dupax, a place that seemed so far at that time. Auntie Sitang, Auntie Perlit, and I accompanied Inang. However, we didn't stay long in Dupax because another job in Dalton High School, which was perfect for her, became available, a physics teacher. She taught at Dalton for a long time and at the same time helped relatives, in-laws, and friends graduate from high school. The mere mention of physics puts fear among students, and when they hear Inang will be their teacher, the more anxious they became. But Inang tailor-made her lessons so they will be easier for her students to understand if they will just be attentive in class. She was strict but fair, making her a much respected and loved teacher at Dalton. This was the time that Inang started collecting jewelry. A ring here, a bracelet or necklace there. Vendors loved her. Marilu, you know what to do. Make sure that all Parungao ladies get their share. After Dalton, she went back to school to finish her BSc in elementary education and went to teach in the elementary school. After a few years, she became a model math teacher and trainer of teachers who wanted to teach the abacus to elementary school children. While teaching in the elementary school, Inang ventured into business of her own. She partnered with a relative and bought a tanker truck to distribute gasoline in Nueva Vizcaya. She also opened a grocery mart at the public market with Marilu as her assistant. Just when the grocery mart was thriving, the public market got burned. It was at this time that she devoted herself to her other passion, gardening. She collected and planted colored roses, orchids, and bougainvilleas. Even her garden in San Pedro, California, were full of orchids and roses. She took care of her plants so lovingly. In fact, before she was brought to the hospital, she was watering, talking, and even singing to them. She also loved her pets. If she was not tending to her plants or watching her favorite Korean drama, whether in Solano or in California, she was playing with her dogs. She had a favorite, one named Bella, who even slept with her on her bed. She really spoiled her dogs and cooked for them every day. Their favorite dish was adobong manok. I heard Inang also had a pet dog in Solano. Inang and Ama always had time to relax together. They loved going to the movies at least once a week for a bakbakan movie, especially if the hero was either Jess Lapid, FPJ, or Lito Lapid. In San Pedro, California, Solomon was the one who supplied Inang with videotapes. Inang also liked to watch wrestling on TV. Sol made sure that Inang watched every wrestling show, otherwise, he made copies for Inang to see later. He also made copies of FPJ, Jet Li, or Jackie Chan movies for Inang to watch anytime she desired, and always with a cup of coffee by her side. Then came the Korean dramas. Inang had one favorite idol, Lee Min-ho. It was Mylene, my son Patrick's wife, who supplied Inang with Lee Min-ho DVDs. Inang even had a Lee Min-ho t-shirt. I heard Inang planned to travel to South Korea with grandson Jel to watch a Lee Min-ho concert. So Jel, I am sure Inang will remind you about this. We found out that Inang was hard of hearing when she came back to California. So Sol told us to speak louder to Inang's left ear so she can hear us. She also complained of pain on her knees. I know she had pain meds for her knees from Excel and Chinese herbal med from Doris. Although Inang was feeling pain on her knees, she can still outwalk all of us. Tina and Doy can attest to this. Ask them about our trips to San Diego Zoo and Las Vegas. Inang never complained about her pain at all. I was still in high school when Inang taught me to become independent. First, she taught me how to iron my own clothes. She told me she won't be with me in Manila, so I needed to be able to do things by myself. Second, cooking. When I was helping Inang prepare the dishes at home, I never suspected it was her own way of training me how to cook. But up to now, I still can't get the taste of her pinakbet and higado. I still remember Inang bringing pinakbet and higado every time I celebrated my birthday. Inang also trained Siebert, Ruben, and Marilo how to cook well. In fact, all followed Inang's passion for cooking. Ruben opened an eatery followed by Armand. Siebert was cooking different native dishes even when he was still in uniform for his fellow officers. And Marilu can almost perfect Inang sigado now. Also, I remember we had pinapaitan or cook with red kidney beans every Friday. Now I understand why Ama had gout after eating these dishes. When Inang traveled to California for the second time, on my prodding, she stayed on until she became a U.S. citizen. A funny thing happened when she went for a citizenship interview. I told Inang that all questions required a yes answer, but the interviewer diverted from the usual and instead asked, "At one time or another, did you ever commit any crime against the USA?" Her immediate answer was a yes. The interviewer asked again after I translated the question to her. She was congratulated by the interviewer. She passed her interview. I really sweated. Wow, yow. Before leaving California last year, Inang told me she was going home to take care of her properties like the rice fields inherited from Lola Lucia. The planned improvement on the pasto mama that needed a sturdy fence so that cows will not get lost, and also the field had many mango trees. It is now time to improve the land with the help of Cypher and Arman. Inang never forgot her civic duties and public duties. She was an active member of many organizations. She was at one time a CWL treasurer and a beauty pageant winner. Amaranth's secretary, I really don't know how she balanced her duties in both organizations. Then there is the different Teachers Association of Solano and Nueva Vizcaya. If I missed anything, Seabird or Marilu are there as spokesperson of the family. Inang, I am really sorry I cannot be there with you. I know you know why. Prency, Lester, Patrick and Jet and their wives too. But you will always be in our hearts. Inang, safe journey. Hug and kiss Ama for us. Lastly, I want to thank the following. To Andoy, who visited and stayed with Inang in Solano and California. To Bobby, who spent time drinking coffee with Inang in the mornings. To all the cooks who prepared food during Inang's wake. To the people who prepared coffee for the nightly wake. To the religious groups who led daily prayers. To all others keeping the flowers well arranged and fresh, and various helpers during the week. And last but not least, to Arman and Baba, who tirelessly and lovingly took care of Inang these last few months. If I miss anybody, I am sorry. Oh,